Okay. I am making a Magnet Warrior deck profile. I played the deck today at my locals and didn't really know what I was doing with the deck, but managed to get. I don't remember what place it was. I think it was second place, so it could have been third. As I won against Magistus Dracotail. That game went. I believe that was 2-0. Then I played against Triple D, where I won 2-1. And then I played against Archmage K9 and lost 1-2. But overall, I really liked how the deck worked, and I feel like it was very simple to play. But starting off with the monsters, I play 3 copies of Adamancipator Researcher. Adamancipator Researcher is a free summon as long as you control a rock monster. And once per turn, you can activate the top 5 cards of your deck and summon a level 4 lower non-tuner rock monster. And then any remaining cards go to the bottom of the deck in any order. And you will use each effect of Researcher once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Beta the Electromagnet Warrior. Beta has the effect that on summon, you can add a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster except for another copy of itself from your deck to your hand. And it does have a second effect, I just never was actually able to use it. Which is, during your opponent's turn, you contribute this card, especially on a level 4 Magnet Warrior monster from your deck. And this is a quick effect. But if that is there, then you can actually tribute it to summon the new copy of Magnet Warrior Omega Plus. Omega Plus has the effect that if it's in your hand or graveyard, you contribute a rock monster on your field to special summon it. However, if it's summoned this way, its banishment leaves the field. And then during your opponent's turn as a quick effect, it can tribute itself to target one monster your opponent controls and flip it face down. So you make sure I didn't miss anything. So you target a face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense position. So you can even target your own monsters if you need to. Next, I play 1 copy of Epsilon the Magnet Warrior. Epsilon the Magnet Warrior, I will be honest, I actually didn't use this card at all today. Same with Delta the Magnet Warrior. But I do like him at least being options. Where Epsilon has the effect that if it's summoned, you can send a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for another copy of itself, and it becomes that monster's name. And then you can special summon a Magnet Warrior or a Magna Warrior monster from your graveyard with a different name than the cards you currently control. But one thing I like about this is you can actually use it, send another Magnet Warrior to the graveyard, and then trigger its effect. And then next, I play 3 copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Minus. Sigma Minus has the effect that you can reveal it in your hand to fusion summon a rock fusion monster using this card as material, as well as any other monsters from your hand, field, or hand or field. And then it also has the effect that if it is normal summoned, I believe it's normal or special summon. Yeah, when it's summoned, then you can send a level 8 Magna Warrior monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then next, I play 1 copy of Delta the Magnet Warrior, which is summoned, do Foolish and Magnet Warrior. And this card sends to the graveyard. Okay. Play 1 copy of Delta, and Delta's whole thing is when it's summoned, you can send a Magnet Warrior from your deck to the graveyard. And it also has an effect that I don't think will ever come up, which is you can banish 3 Magnet Warriors from you control, then special summon a Valkyrian the Magnet Warrior from your hand. But I don't think you'd ever use that effect, though you could every once in a while, just probably not often. Next, I play 2 copies of Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus. Sigma Plus has the effect that while it's on the field, all your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack your Earth monsters. And then, if your opponent controls an Earth monster, then I can't remember if it's they control an Earth or see. Okay, while your opponent controls an earth monster, you get to choose your opponent's attack targets. And then its last effect is if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target one level 4 lower Magnet Warrior in graveyard, except for another copy of Sigma Plus, and special summon it. Next, I play 3 copies of Quakimeru Guardian. Quakimeru Guardian has the effect of when your opponent gets a monster effect. You tribute this card you control, negate that activated effect, and then destroy that card. And then during your end phase, you must reveal a rock monster in your hand, or else Quakimeru Guardian will self-destruct. Next, I play 3 copies of Duotarian. This card wasn't very good today, but I still think it's worth keeping the deck, as you can discard it to add a bonding spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Then next, I play 3 copies of the deck's main starter, which is 3 copies of Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus. As this card sends 2 Magnet Warrior monsters at level 4 lower from your deck to the graveyard to then summon itself. And I would like someone to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this effect, summon itself, is not an activated effect, so you just send 2 from deck to grave, special summon it. But you can only summon plus minus once per turn like this. And it cannot be normal summon or set. And then its last effect, it has 2 other effects, where it can target 1 other earth monster on the field, and it gains attack equal to half of that monster's attack points, so this is the main thing it'll use to be attacking, as it can get really big. And then its final effect is if it's destroyed by card effect, as I believe it has to be by card effect. Okay, now if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, then it has the mandatory effect of returning to your hand. And you can only use each effect of Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus once per turn. And then next, for the Magna Warriors, I play 1 copy of Tellusion the Magna Warrior, 1 copy of Berserkion the Magna Warrior, and 1 copy of Valkyrian the Magna Warrior. These 2 are only in here for one of the fusion monsters, which if you don't want to play that monster, then you can just replace these 2 with other cards. Like I'm planning on putting Foolish Burial in the deck because I feel like it's actually pretty good. But Delusion has the effect where it cannot be normal summoned or set. It has to be special summoned from the graveyard with its own effect by banishing Magnet Warrior Sigma Plus and Sigma Minus from your hand, field, or graveyard. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, then you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Or if you target an earth monster, you can take control of it instead. And then during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can tribute Tellusion to special summons Sigma Plus and Sigma Minus. For the hand traps, I play 2 copies of Droll Lockbird, just because Droll Lockbird is able to make it so your opponent only gets to draw once off of the Molcharmies. It's just, your opponent has to take a card from their deck to their hand except during the draw phase. Then you can discard this so that neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand for the rest of the turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Ghost Mourner. I play Ghost Mourner over Effect Veiler just because Ghost Mourner is able to be used on your turn. So against decks like Traco Tail, in theory you could use this when they summon Arthalion on your turn. So that they will get to return monsters on field or graveyard back to the hand. And then lastly for the monsters, I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Ash Blossom I feel like is just really good as a hand trap, just being able to stop your opponent from adding a card from deck to hand, sending from deck to grave, or special summoning from deck. And then lastly, for the hand traps, I play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence can be activated from your hand as long as you control no face-up cards. But it lets you target a monster your opponent controls, negates effects until the end of the turn. And then if Infinite Impermanence was set when it was activated, then it'll also negate all spells and traps in its column for the turn. So just be wary of that if you activate on your turn, as it will also negate your own spells and traps. As that was part of the reason I was able to win my game 1 against Archmage K9, as my opponent set a Archmage spell. I think it was. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Alteration. To the zone that the imperm was activated in, or it was in, and then they activated it, and then when they went to use Alteration, it was had its effects negated because of the imperm. For these spells, I play one copy of Magnet Induction. Magnet Induction, I kind of want to play more copies of because I just hardly ever saw it as used. I do know I don't need to because you can add it off of the Magnet Warrior Fusion monster. But Magnet Induction just lets you. Let's see, was. If you control a Magnet Warrior monster whose original level is 4 or lower. Alright. Then you can special on a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you control. And then for the rest of the turn after this resolves, your Magnet Warriors and Magna Warrior monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effects. You can only activate one Magnet Induction per turn. But the only reason I want to play more of it is just because I never saw it, because I was always searching for the next card, which has 3 effects, with each effect being a once per turn. The 3 copies of Magnet Bonding. Magnet Bonding has the effect that you can only use each effect once per turn, where you can add a Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus, or a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior from your deck to your hand. You can add a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to your hand, or you can fusion summon a rock fusion monster by recycling its materials from your hand, field, graveyard, or banish back into the deck. Just make sure I had that correct. Yes, I did. And then lastly for the deck, I played one copy of Gozen Match. I'm only playing this just because of how, kind of similar to the Shark deck, there's a monster that has the effect that while it's on the field, all monsters change to this attribute. So I figured Gozen Match would be good, as most people aren't playing Earth-based decks. And this will make it so your opponent is locked into Earth, and because they're Earth-locked, they can't really do anything. I will say it now, originally for the tournament, I was playing 2 additional cards, but I've decided to just take them out because it was a 44 card deck. So this set currently should be a 42 card deck. Though I might replace some other cards, move things around, because I do want to play Foolish Burial in the deck. But originally in the tournament, I was also playing Harpy's Feather Duster, just because I usually lose the die roll, so I don't usually get to go first. And having Harpy's Feather Duster deal with your opponent's back row is usually a good thing. And then lastly, because I did open a box of Mesa Muertos, I did play one copy of Illusion Gate. Again, because I usually lose the die roll, and having Illusion Gate seemed like a good thing. Where you can pay half your life points to destroy all monsters your opponent controls, and then you can special summon one monster from your opponent's graveyard to your side of the field. And you can only activate one Illusion Gate per duel. But like I said, though, I figured to make the deck a little bit more consistent, I would take out the Illusion Gate and Harpy's Feather Duster. So that is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I play one copy of Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep has the effect that when a monster is summoned to a zone it points to, you can apply effects based on what it points to, being Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz. However, with this deck, you're ever going to actually want Fusion, which is it just lets you special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. But if you do get the others, then Synchro will make it so that all monsters you control gain 700 attack, and Xyz will make it so that all monsters your opponent controls lose 700 attack. But like I said, though, usually you want it for the fusion effect of being able to revive a level 4 lower monster. Next, I play one copy of IP Masquerena and one copy of SP Little Knight. IP Masquerena has the effect that during your opponent's main phase, you can activate its effect to link summon using this card you control. And a link monster that's link summoned using IP Masquerena cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Then SP Little Knight has the effect that if it is link summoned using a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster, then you target one monster on the field or in the graveyard, banish it but your monsters cannot attack directly this turn. Which apparently translates to, I found out today, to as long as you've already attacked directly, you can still use this effect. So if you summon it on main phase 2. Then next, I play one copy of Gorgon of Zilithonia. Gorgon of Zilithonia has the effect that you cannot summon to zones it points to, which is honestly fair, but it's usually going to be the extra monster zones, so you aren't usually going to be able to summon to the zones it points to anyway. But monsters in zones it points to cannot attack, nor can they activate their effects. Gorgon of Zilithonia gains attack equal to the combined original attack of all monsters it points to. And then its final effect is, if it does not point to a monster that cannot be destroyed by, battle or card effects? It cannot be destroyed by battle or monster effects while it doesn't point to any monsters. And to finish off the extra deck, I play one copy of Doggerod the Stone Trooper. And Doggerod has the effect of, I will be honest, I didn't summon any of these Link monsters today, so I don't familiar with their effects. But if this card is special summoned, you can target a rock monster in your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to that monster's attack. During your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can target one other monster on the field with attack less than or equal to this card's attack. Or my bad. You can target one other monster on the field with attack less than or equal to this card. This card loses attack exactly equal to that monster's attack, and if it does, destroy that monster. You can only use each affected Doggerod the Stone Trooper once per turn. I honestly, I will admit, I don't know if I want to keep this in here. I might replace it with a copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. I think that's what it was. Or the Closed Heavens, maybe. But for the fusions, I play two copies of, Conduction Warrior Plasma Magnum? Yes. Plasma Magnum has the effect that while it's on the field, all monsters become Earth. And then if this card's fusion summoned, you can add a magnet normal spell, quick play spell, or field spell from your deck to your hand. And then its final effect is, once per turn, you can send a level 8 Magna Warrior from your deck to the graveyard, and then be able to, immediately after the effect resolves, normal summon a level 4 or lower Magna Warrior, or Magnet Warrior from your hand. And then next, I play one copy of Flux Oceanfield. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I just call it Flux. This card has the effect that if it is fusion summoned... What was it? What was the other condition? I don't remember. If this card's fusion summoned, you can special summon a rock monster from your hand or graveyard, except for another copy of itself. And as a quick effect, you can target one earth monster you control and one card your opponent controls, return them to the hand. And you can only use each effect of Flux once per turn and cannot activate more than one in the same chain. Then lastly for the fusions, I play one copy of Imperium Magnum, the Superconductive Battlebot. This is a card you can take out if you don't want to play Valkyrian or Berserkion. But if you open them, that at worst, they are fusion material. So I don't mind playing them. Also, this is a 4,000 body that is an Omni Negate once per turn. It does have an effect that lets it float, but because of how when it's summoned, the cards it summons aren't in the deck or on the graveyard, so it doesn't really matter. So the only thing this really is that it's a 4,000 Omni Negate. For the synchros, I play one copy of Naturia Beast, one copy of Adamancipator Risen Raptite. Dragite is different. And then one copy of Naturia Barkion. Naturia Beast has the effect that when your opponent activates a spell card, then you can send the top two cards of your deck to the graveyard for cost to then negate that spell card. Naturia Barkion is the same thing as Beast, but instead of sending from deck to grave, it banishes from graveyard to negate traps. And then Adamancipator Risen Raptite lets you execute the top 5 cards of your deck and special summon a rock monster to your field. And then it has another effect, but because of how this deck doesn't, has a couple wings. And when monsters in your graveyard that's quick effect and target card your opponent's graveyard and banish it. So it could technically be good as it is a once per turn DD Crow, as if you have a wind monster in the graveyard, which at the moment, with this current build of the deck, is just Drone Lockbird and Ghost Mourner. But I was thinking about taking some cards out of the deck and putting in Molcharmi Fuwalos, which would be another wind target for it. I say wind target, but it just requires a wind in your grave. Then for Xyz monsters, I play one copy of Bagooska, the Terribly Tired Tapir. This card can be made just to stall for time if you need it, as when it's in defense mode, switches all monsters on the field to defense, and the activated effects of monsters in defense mode are negated. Next, I play one copy of Gallant Granite. Gallant Granite has the effect that once per turn you can detach material to add a rock monster from your deck to your hand. It does have another effect, but most of the time you're just using it to search for Adamancipator Researcher. Which its other effect will let you special on a rock monster from your hand and face down defense position, but you're never going to use that effect. And then lastly, I play one copy of Typhon. Typhon can be Xyz summoned by using the strongest monster on your field, your choice at Tide. Whenever your opponent has summoned from the extra deck 2 or more times, either that turn or the previous turn. While it's on the field, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3,000 or more attack. And then its final effect is you can detach material, target one monster from the field, and return it to the owner's hand. Which one I actually used Typhon to return a Bagooska that was in defense, that had in defense, but I switched to attack, and then I proceeded to remake the Bagooska in defense mode, which then made it so that everything was in defense, and then Typhon still kept its effect because its ability to prevent players from activating monster effects with 3,000 or more attack. It is actually a continuous effect, so Bagooska doesn't negate it. But that is it for my Magnet Warrior deck profile. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas for decks like to be made in the future, or decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. And like I said earlier, if I got any rulings wrong that I mentioned, comment the correct rulings. And if you're still watching, thank you for watching.